Which of the two main cities of the Dominican Republic is actually better? That's what we're going to find out in this video. Hey guys, welcome back to Purely Walking. It's me, Ellie again, and today we are going to battle out real data from Santo Domingo, Distrito Nacional, which is Dominican Republic's capital city. And on the other corner, we have Santiago de los Caballeros, which is Dominican Republic's second largest city. There has been a long withstanding rivalry between people from these two cities. So today we're going to battle it out and see which city is actually better. If you're trying to move to either city or trying to make a decision between which city would be better for you, there are some statistics and some data points that I'm going to give you in this video that might help you make your best decision. So let's figure it out right now. Now, just for reference, the statistics that I'll be talking to you in this video regarding Santo Domingo is actually going to be regarding Distrito Nacional, which is the actual capital of the country, rather than the greater Santo Domingo area. And the statistics, or most of the statistics, that I will be giving you on Santiago is regarding Santiago de los Caballeros, which is the main city of the actual entire province of Santiago. Guys, let me take this time to remind you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, hit that like button because it tells YouTube that you are enjoying my content. And hit that comment down below and let me know if you are Team Santiago or Team Santo Domingo. Distrito Nacional has a population of about 1,062,000 people, and Santiago de los Caballeros has a lesser population of 691,000 people. Now, the area of Distrito Nacional expands of about 91 kilometers squared, while Santiago is a lot bigger, spanning over 474 kilometers squared, which means that obviously Distrito Nacional has a largest density of population of about 11,600 people per kilometer squared, and in Santiago de los Caballeros we only have about 1,400 people per each kilometer squared. That just basically means that Distrito Nacional overall is much more crowded than Santiago. Speaking of being crowded, one main topic of these two cities is the traffic. Just to put it in reference, in 2021, there were over 5 million vehicles registered in the Transportation Authority, and 27.6% of all of these vehicles were from Distrito Nacional, which means that in Distrito Nacional there were about 1,422,000 vehicles registered, while in Santiago de los Caballeros only 8% of all the vehicles of the Dominican Republic were registered to Santiago, which means that in Santiago there are registered only 412,000 vehicles, which means overall there are less people traveling in different types of vehicles in Santiago than in Distrito Nacional. And as you could imagine, that basically means that in the Distrito Nacional we have tons and tons and tons of traffic jams versus Santiago, where the traffic is quite moderate to mild in comparison. So there you have a feeling for what the way of life is in terms of the traffic. Now, from both of these cities, we have the actual two main baseball playing teams in the country, and that is from Santo Domingo, Los Tigres del Licey, and from Santiago, we have Las Aguilas Cibaeñas. Now, in terms of which team is better, they both go hand in hand and they both go right into it when it comes to playing baseball. But I will have to say that Tigres del Licey have won one more championship in the Nationals than Santiago's team has. So we're talking about 23 national crowns for Tigres del Licey versus 22 national crowns from Las Águilas Cibaeñas. So the data doesn't lie, you guys. Comment below what team you're on. Now, on to something very serious, which is the safety of each one of these cities. Now, when it comes to statistics, in 2018, there were 143 homicides total in Distrito Nacional, and Santiago de los Caballeros had 145 homicides in 2018. So the data is very comparable in terms of these two. And also on car safety and road safety, we have 81 car crashes in 2018 for Distrito Nacional and 135 car crashes in Santiago in the same year. So that means that in terms of road safety, Santiago has reported a little bit more car crashes in a year than Distrito Nacional. Also, the unemployment rates are quite comparable as well between the two cities. Distrito Nacional has reported an unemployment rate of 5.8% in 2010, and in Santiago there was an unemployment rate of 5.6% in the same year. I'm sorry, I wasn't able to find a more current year for this data, but it seems to be that both of the cities have comparable unemployment rates. Now, when it comes to transportation, I can tell you that both of these cities have got you almost covered. We have an international airport in both cities. We have bus systems that are very well and organized in both cities. We also have somewhat of more informal type of transportation, such as carro públicos and little different buses that go around the town. Obviously, people have their cars. A lot more people drive motorcycles in Santiago than Santo Domingo, but there is still a great quantity of both of these types of vehicles in each city. The only thing that I can say that is different is the subway. In Santo Domingo, we do have the subway line that is ready and it's already working and functioning. In Santiago, as you heard in a few videos ago that I made, there is a monorail being built, so it's somewhat of a city train above ground. So that will have a plus for Santiago eventually, maybe next year or the next. But for now, the only difference in regards to ways of transportation is that subway. In terms of homes and types of buildings you can find, there are both modern and traditional homes in both of the cities, but there are a lot more quantity of skyscrapers and apartment buildings here in Santo Domingo, Distrito Nacional, versus Santiago, which does have a lot of modern and beautiful apartment buildings, but there are a little bit less in quantity than in Santo Domingo, as you would imagine, because of the lesser density of the population. In terms of the overall prices of living in the Santo Domingo area versus Santiago, I can definitely say that the basic basket of goods is way more expensive in Santo Domingo than in Santiago. So, in specific terms, I can say that the central bank has published their data points saying that the basic basket of goods of living in a month in Santo Domingo cost around 50,700 pesos, which is just under $1,000 per month. That is the basics, like the basic raw things that you need to live. And in Santiago, that same basket would cost you 41,700 pesos. So it is a very important difference between those two. Now, when it comes to having fun, both of these cities offer a great diversity of things to do. There are bowling centers in Santo Domingo and Santiago. There is ample shopping options. There are right about 20 nightclubs and bars in both of the cities. There are parks, family areas. There are zoos in both of the cities, movie theaters as well. The only thing that I could say differentiates both cities in terms of places to be is we have in Santo Domingo, as you know, my favorite spot, which is Zona Colonial, the colonial zone. But I will say Santiago also has a historical center. So there are places that you can see historical buildings and such, but nothing like La Zona Colonial, which is the entire little city of, you know, those old school and historical buildings and shops and all that stuff. Now, an interesting thing, an important thing to point out is that there is no beach in Santiago because it is inland. It's a completely inland city. So it doesn't have a malecón area such as the one we have here in Santo Domingo, which is beautiful just to look at or pass by. They have no waterfront area at all. We have at least a little beach called Guivia. Nobody bathes there, but it is still there. And in terms of going to the beach to bathe, us here in Santo Domingo would go either to Boca Chica or to Juan Dolio, which are the two closest beaches that people actually go in and bathe to. And in Santiago, obviously, they have the entire Cibao region in the northern region of the DR they can go to. They could go to Puerto Plata. Sosúa is quite close by as well. But just so you know, we do have that Malecón open seaside area here in Santo Domingo, but there is no seaside area at all in Santiago. In terms of healthcare, I can say that there are a lot more medical centers, clinics in Santo Domingo than in Santiago. For example, in Santo Domingo, we have 29 specialized healthcare centers versus Santiago, which only has 11. There are 78 private health centers here in Santo Domingo versus 10 private health centers in Santiago, and establishments for primary attention. There are 153 in Santo Domingo versus 70 in Santiago. Also, when it comes to schools and universities, I can tell you there are 184 public schools in Distrito Nacional versus 311 public schools in Santiago, and there are 304 private schools in Santiago, but in Santo Domingo there is a whopping number of 638 private schools and centers in this city. So there are a lot of private schools here in Santo Domingo, more so than in Santiago. Something I will say is that in Santiago, there are plenty of universities you can go to. You don't need to come to Santo Domingo to study. You have Pucamaima, which has all kinds of different careers paths. Also, there is La UAS, there is UTESA as well. But all those are also in Santo Domingo. So we have a comparable option for university in both of the cities. Now, of course, in Santo Domingo, there are more variety of universities that you can go to, but Santiago has enough that you don't have to be lacking in options. When it comes to shopping and dining, both of these cities have an ample variety of restaurants and different franchises that you can go to. For example, there is an IKEA in Santiago as well as Santo Domingo. There are different supermarkets. The main supermarkets are both in both cities, like Bravo, Nacional. There's La Sirena. There are also ample variety of cafeterias. They have different malls in both cities. Obviously, in Santo Domingo, there's a lot more malls than in Santiago, but they both do have a lot of stores. They have, the Pizza Hut, the Domino's franchises, things like that. But Santiago is lacking some specialty luxury stores, such as the ones we find here in Blue Mall in Santo Domingo. They don't have those in Santiago. So there's no Salvatore Ferragamo, there's no Carolina Herrera, there is no Louis Vuitton. None of those things are in Santiago. Also, there's no Starbucks in Santiago versus Santo Domingo, which has plenty of Starbucks stores. And there is no stores like Sarah or Forever 21, which is like a staple here in Santo Domingo. They don't have that in Santiago either. So if you're into both of these things or in those luxury stores, just know that you will not find those in Santiago. Now, in terms of testimonials for each city, like overall grasp of the city, this is purely subjective. So, what I'm going to say next, you take it with a grain of salt because it's not statistics, it's not data, it's simply things that people remark on both cities. So, one of the first things people remark on when they're comparing Santiago to Santo Domingo is that Santo Domingo is noisier and dirtier, but that there are more job opportunities due to the more ample options of commerce and industry, and obviously all of the central government offices that are here as well. So in general, people find that in Santo Domingo there are more options in movement and job opportunities and things like that, but that the city is noisier and dirtier with all of the traffic and the people and the higher density of the population. Versus in Santiago, people think or say that it is actually a cleaner city because the mayor is doing a great job with the cleanliness of the city. There is more warmth from the people because people from Cibao have that fame of being just more warm with each other. It is a little bit more tranquil. There are less cars, less people around, so it is a little bit more calm. And obviously, there are no traffic jams, or at least less traffic jams than in Santo Domingo. So that's the overall gist that people get from each city. And I want you to comment down below if you've ever been to either or both cities, what your opinion is regarding this topic. So to answer the question that I promised I would answer in the beginning of the video, which city is better? Well, the answer actually lies in your hands, dear viewer, because it just depends on personal preference. Do you prefer to be out and about in a noisier, bigger city with more cars, with more commerce, with more movement? Or do you prefer to be in a more tranquil type of town? It is still developed. It does have the malls and the stores and the restaurants and the movie theaters, but a little bit more laid back and a little bit less crowded and noisy. So it depends on you guys. What do you guys think? I really want to know in the comments below which one you would choose over the other. It reminds me kind of the rivalry I hear between people living in Manhattan versus New Jersey. So which one is better? That type of thing. So let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Alright guys, this was it for today. This is me signing out from sunny Santo Domingo. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.